The transit gate floated at the edge of the station, like a quiet thought no one wanted to finish. It shimmered softly, light folding inward, waiting. Species from 100 worlds lined up before it, clutching permits, identity shards, memory seals. Everyone stopped. Everyone except humans. Sa-Elithrin had worked this gate for 11 cycles. Her role was simple: observe, confirm, enforce. She never questioned the rule written into the station itself. Humans pass without authorization. She had never asked why. Asking was dangerous. So when the humans slowed, Sally felt her breath catch. He was average by human standards. Dark hair tied loosely, eyes carrying the faint exhaustion of someone who traveled too much. His boots scuffed the floor as he stopped just before the threshold. The gate hummed, confused. Sally straightened. "You may proceed." The system echoed her words automatically. He didn't move. That had never happened before. Travelers behind him murmured. Sally felt the weight of attention press against her senses. "You are cleared," she said again. Firmer. The human turned toward her. His expression was calm, almost apologetic. "I know." "Then go," she said. He smiled, just barely. "I wanted to see if you'd notice." Her pulse spiked. "Notice what?" "That I stopped." No one ever stopped. Humans crossed borders like ghosts, untouched by rules that bound the rest of the galaxy. They never lingered. They never looked back. "You are delaying transit," Sally said, clinging to procedure. "I'll move," he replied. "Just tell me why I don't need permission." She stared at him. That question was older than her species. Written history. "I am not authorized to discuss foundational law," she said. "Then don't," he said gently. "Just talk to me." Talking was worse. "State your name," she said, before she could stop herself. He blinked, surprised, then answered. "Noah Wren." Names were intimate, dangerous, permanent. "Why are you here, Noah Wren?" she asked. He looked through the gate, into the light. "Passing through. Same as everyone else. Humans never hesitate," Sally said. "You always walk through." "Maybe we were taught not to ask," he replied. "Doesn't mean we shouldn't." The gate's light flickered, reacting to the delay. Alarms did not sound. The system waited. It was waiting for her. Sally felt heat bloom beneath her skin, an emotion she was not trained to name. Her people valued restraint, distance, control. Humans carried their feelings openly, like unshielded stars. "If I stop you," she said, "I violate protocol." Noah nodded. "Then I'll go." He took one step forward. Sa-Eli spoke before she could think. "Wait." The word echoed, soft and dangerous. He stopped instantly. The travelers behind him went silent. Sa-Eli approached the threshold, every instinct screaming warning. She had never stood this close to a human before. He smelled faintly of metal and recycled air, something warm beneath it. "Do you know why the gate opens for you?" she asked quietly. Noah shook his head. "I was hoping you did." "The rule predates us all," she said. "Humans are exempt." "That sounds lonely," he said. She frowned. "Lonely. Everyone else is seen," he explained. "Checked, acknowledged. We just pass." The words struck something fragile inside her. Without thinking, Sally reached out and brushed her fingers against his sleeve. Warmth. Real, undeniable warmth. The gate pulsed brighter. No alarms. No reprimand. Noah inhaled sharply, eyes widening. "Guess I'm not invisible after all." She withdrew her hand, heart racing. "You should go," he nodded, stepping backward through the light. The gate welcomed him instantly. Before disappearing, he turned back. "Will you stop the next human?" Sally looked at the endless line of travelers. Frightened faces, hopeful ones, lives measured and weighed. "Yes," she said. "I think I will." His smile softened, something tender and grateful passing between them. Then he was gone. The gate settled into its quiet hum, but Sally stood there long after, knowing the truth she had never dared consider. Humans were not trusted because they were powerful. They were trusted because they were willing to pause, and sometimes to wait. Varishantil had memorized the shape of every human lie. Or at least, he thought he had. As a customs officer on Hollowpoint Station, Varish spent his days watching species twist themselves into half-truths. Smugglers sweated. Diplomats rehearsed. Refugees trembled. Humans did none of that. They stepped forward, nodded politely, and were waved through. No scans, no searches, no questions. The station systems recognized them instantly and disengaged. Varish hated that, not because he mistrusted humans, but because he did not understand them. So when the human courier set her crate down and stayed in place, Varish felt the familiar prickle of unease. "You may proceed," the system said. The woman did not move. She had short hair and grease-stained gloves tucked into her belt. Her eyes were alert, curious, and annoyingly honest. "I'd like to declare my cargo," she said. Varish tilted his head. "Humans are not required to submit declarations." She smiled faintly. "I know. I want to anyway." The line behind her shifted. Varish glanced at the monitoring panel. It showed nothing. The systems were already disengaging. "State your name," he said. "Mila Kurz," another human name added to the long list of exemptions. "You're carrying freight between sectors," Varish observed. "Medical supplies," Mila said. For a relief ring, Varish studied her posture. No signs of deception, no concealed fear. "Why insist on inspection?" he asked. "Because everyone else has to," she replied. "Doesn't seem fair." Fair. The word felt dangerously human. Varish hesitated. His species valued balance, but balance was enforced through systems, not sentiment. "The rule is ancient," he said. "Humans are trusted." Mila laughed quietly. "That's the part that bothers me." He looked at her more closely. "Trusted with what?" She shrugged. "No one ever says." Varish activated a manual override. The console flickered, surprised. The system resisted. "You are interfering with foundational protocol," it warned. "I am performing an inspection." Varish replied. The crate opened smoothly. Inside were neatly packed medical kits, labeled in half a dozen scripts. Nothing illegal, nothing hidden. Varish felt something loosen inside his chest, satisfied. Mila asked. "Yes," he said. Then, softer, "Thank you." "For what?" "For choosing not to disappear." She met his gaze. Something warm passed between them, subtle but real. The system re-engaged, impatient. "You may proceed," Varish said. Mila didn't leave. Instead, she leaned against the crate. "Do you ever wonder why we're exempt?" "Often," Varish admitted. "I've been turned away from places before," she said. "Not because of permits, but because of grief. Humans, we remember loss loudly. Maybe the galaxy decided that was enough." Varish felt his feathers shift uneasily. "You think this privilege is a burden?" "I think it's a promise," Mila said. "And no one bothered to explain it to us." Silence stretched between them, filled only by the hum of the station. "You should go," Varish said finally. "I will," Mila replied. "But I'll be back." "Hollow points on my route." He nodded. "I will be here." She hesitated, then reached out, brushing her fingers against the edge of his wing. A brief, careful touch. Varish inhaled sharply. Humans were warm. "Thank you for seeing me," Mila said. Then she walked away, disappearing into the flow of travelers. Varish watched her go long after the system insisted on moving on. For the first time, he did not resent the rule, he feared it. Because whatever ancient promise allowed humans to walk unsearched. It was not about dominance. It was about memory. And love. And the quiet weight of being trusted to carry both. The archive had no door. It was a chamber of silence suspended inside the spine of an ancient station, sealed by laws older than the corridors that curved around it. Most species could see the entrance, but not approach it. Invisible pressure pushed them back, gentle but absolute. Jonah Vale felt nothing at all. He stood before the threshold, hands in his pockets, uncertain. He had been hired for this job without explanation, summoned by a message that contained only coordinates and a single sentence. "We need a human." Behind him, light shifted. Irisel Noah approached slowly, her body glowing faintly, like starlight caught in glass. Her people preserved history in harmonics and color. This place terrified her. "Do not step forward yet," Irisel said. Jonah glanced back. "Should I be worried?" "Yes," she replied, "but not for the reason you think." He waited, respecting her caution. Humans were not known for patience, but Jonah had learned it the hard way, through loss and travel, and the quiet loneliness of being waved through places where others were stopped. "This archive has rejected everyone," Irisel said. "For millennia." "Then why ask me?" Jonah asked. She studied him carefully. Because the field responds to you. Jonah stepped closer. Nothing resisted him. The pressure that forced Irisel back did not touch his skin. The silence parted like water. Irisel single quotes S breath caught. It recognizes you. I don't feel special, Jonah said softly. That may be the point. Inside. The archive was not shelves or screens. It was memory itself, layered and alive. Images flickered in the air, unanchored. Worlds forming. Worlds burning. Species rising, then fading. Jonah felt it like a low ache in his chest. It's sad, he murmured. Irisel watched him from the boundary. That reaction is consistent across human subjects. Subjects? He asked, turning. There have been others, she admitted. Long ago. None remained. Jonah swallowed. Why? Because the archive does not give knowledge, Irisel said. It gives grief. The images sharpened. A civilization collapsed under its own weight. Another vanished quietly, choosing to fade rather than fight. Faces lingered longest, eyes full of things left unsaid. Jonah stepped back, heart pounding. This is too much. The archive dimmed, responding to his distress. Irisel's glow softened. It listens to you. That's worse, he said. I don't want this kind of power. It is not power, she said gently. It is responsibility. He looked at her, truly seeing her for the first time. Fear, yes, but also hope. Why do you care? He asked. Because if humans carry this alone, Irisel said, you will disappear under the weight of it. The words struck deeper than the visions. Jonah reached out, just past the boundary, fingers trembling. Irisel hesitated, then extended her own luminous hand. Their fingertips touched. The archive stilled. Light settled into harmony. It accepts shared witnessing. Irisel whispered. The images changed. Now they showed remembrance. Instead of collapse, ceremonies, stories passed gently, not as warnings, but as care. Jonah exhaled shakily. It doesn't want me alone, no, Irisel said. It never did. Time passed strangely inside the chamber. When they finally stepped away, both felt altered, quieter. Outside, the pressure returned. Irisel could not cross. What happens now? Jonah asked. Now, she said, we rewrite the rule. He smiled faintly. Together. She returned the smile, warmer now. Together. As Jonah walked away, the archive sealed behind him. No longer silent. At HUMMED. And for the first time in centuries, it was not waiting for a human. It was waiting for the hearts willing to remember side by side. The sanctuary drifted beyond mapped space, wrapped in slow-moving light like a breath held forever. Its borders were not marked by walls or weapons, but by refusal. Ships approached and turned away. Signals faded. Navigation failed. Except for human vessels. Ellen Moss guided her small transport toward the luminous opening, with hands steady from long habit. She had done this run dozens of times, carrying refugees whose names would never appear in records. Behind her, the cabin was quiet. Fear made everyone quiet. Kareth Sova stood near the rear hatch, armor dull and scarred. His species was bred to protect, taught that safety came from strength and obedience. Being barred from the sanctuary burned deeper than any wound. We are close, Ellen said gently. I can feel it, Kareth replied. And it does not want me. It will, she said. Just not yet. He watched her with frustration. He could no longer hide. Why does it open for you? Ellen did not answer right away. She rarely did. As they crossed the boundary, the light folded around the ship, warm and quiet. Alarms never sounded. Systems relaxed, as if relieved. Kareth staggered as invisible pressure met him, holding him at the threshold between spaces. Elin rose from her seat and approached him. Slowly, she murmured. The refugees watched, silent and hopeful. I cannot enter, Kareth said. Voice tight. You can, Ellen replied, placing her hand over his chest plate. With me, that breaks the rule. So does leaving people to suffer. She guided him forward. The sanctuary resisted, then eased. The pressure softened, not gone, but listening. Kareth single quotes S breath shuddered. It's quiet, it's morning, Ellen said. Inside, the sanctuary revealed itself not as a city or fortress, but as a living memory. Gardens grew where names had once been spoken. Water reflected stars that no longer existed. Refugees stepped out, tears falling without shame. Kareth removed his helmet slowly. This place remembers everything. Yes, Ellen said. That's why it trusts humans. Why you? He asked. Lin knelt, touching the ground with reverence. Because humans don't rule grief. We sit with it. Kareth looked at her, really looked. The exhaustion, the quiet kindness, the weight she carried without complaint. You could have stayed, he said. Humans are never stopped. She smiled sadly. What would be the point if I walked through alone? They spent hours guiding refugees to rest, to safety. Kareth found himself watching Ellen when he should have been guarding the perimeter. Every time she smiled, the sanctuary brightened. When the last refugee was settled, Kareth spoke. My kind believes protection comes from force. Ellen met his gaze. Mine believes protection comes from staying. He stepped closer, unsure. What happens when you leave? She looked away. I always leave. The sanctuary dimmed, sensing the truth. Kareth reached out, bare hand trembling, and took hers. Then let me stay with you. Even if I am not meant to enter. The sanctuary pulsed. Light wrapped around them. Gentle and accepting. Lin gasped softly. It's allowing you. Because of you. Kareth whispered. No, she said. Because you chose care over fear. They stood there, hands entwined, while the sanctuary breathed around them. For the first time, Kareth understood. Humans were not granted passage because they were stronger. They were granted passage because they were willing to return. And love, it seemed, was enough to open even the most guarded doors. The last door did not exist in space. It existed in time. It appeared only once every few cycles. In the quiet between eras, when civilizations paused long enough to remember what they had almost lost. Most species never noticed it. Those who did could not approach. They felt regret too sharply. Fear held them still. Marin Ash walked toward it alone. She was not brave. She was tired. The summons had come without ceremony, like all human invitations to places that were never meant to be visited twice. Coordinates, silence, understanding. Behind her, the station's lights dimmed as the door unfolded, not opening, but becoming. A seam in reality, glowing faintly, patient. Marin stopped an arm's length away. I don't know why I'm here, she whispered. The door listened. On the other side was not darkness, but endings. Moments folded gently into one another. Hands letting go. Last words spoken too late. Choices that could not be undone. Marin felt her chest tighten. This isn't fair. The door did not disagree. She had spent her life cataloging departures, ships leaving orbit, people choosing paths that took them away. She had learned to wave without expecting return. Perhaps that was why the door had called her. She stepped forward. Nothing stopped her. Inside, time slowed to a hush. Figures stood in the glow, not ghosts, not alive. Witnesses. One approached, its form shifting like memory recalled imperfectly. You may pass, it said, voice layered. But you may not stay. Marin nodded. I wouldn't want to. Why do humans enter when others cannot? The witness asked. Marin thought of sanctuaries, of archives, of doors that softened only when someone stayed behind for another. Because we don't try to fix endings, she said. We sit with them. The witness considered this. Others seek reversal. We learn to carry. The door brightened. Images unfolded, not warnings, not promises, simply truth. Civilizations did not fall because they were weak. They fell because they refused to mourn, to pause, to let loss teach them how to love differently. Marin felt tears slide down her cheeks. She did not wipe them away. You understand, the witness said. I don't think so, Marin replied. I just don't run from it. The door began to fade. Will it open again? She asked. For someone, the witness said. Not for everyone. Marin stepped back, knowing her time was done. As she crossed the threshold, the door sealed without sound. Slipping back into moments yet to come, she returned to the station, changed in no visible way. No one would know where she had been. That was always how it worked. Later, as the station lights steadied, Marin paused in the corridor. Another traveler stood there, uncertain, eyes full of questions they were afraid to ask. She hesitated, then spoke. Are you lost? They nodded. Marin smiled gently and gestured down the hall. Walk with me. The The door did not reopen. It did not need to, because the truth behind every unlocked threshold had never been permission. It was presence, and as long as humans were willing to stay with others at the edge of endings, there would always be doors that recognized them, not because they were chosen, but because they chose not to walk away.